Episode 5 Eat at the Baratie. This is where the show starts to really pick up. In this episode, you meet Sanji, and Sanji is a great character. Sometimes is a bit cringe, sometimes is a bit out there, but Sanji has a big part to play. He is the one that kind of connects everything. And it's weird because I never thought of it like that. I never thought of Sanji like that. Then you have Sanji as a character. His passion for cooking, the fact that he is one of the best cooks. I mean, it only made sense Luffy was gonna chase someone like that. And talking about chasing, Sanji is chasing those skirts. It's comical, but at the same time, you know, most guys can relate. Some of us maybe not so outwardly. You know, it's going through our heads every time we see a pretty girl. His hard British accent. And I know this is a dub thing, because obviously even in the Japanese version there's no way he has any accent besides the Japanese one, but we're so used to hearing the American accent on him. Hearing the British one takes a little adjusting to, but it works. I'm not gonna lie, it works. His cheesy lines, I swear, I look at them and I'm like, I can't help smirking a little. The other thing that kind of throws me off is he's a little too big, and that one is probably something that is harder to ignore because in every scene, like, Sanji is very slim. Him and Zoro's dynamic ends up looking a certain way. But now when you see them side by side and Sanji is bigger than him, Sanji is bigger than Zoro, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird. That dynamic on the screen is a little weird. It's not bad, just takes adjusting to it. But I love the fact they kept all the little details of the character. We live in a world where you have to adjust everything to kind of fit the world we live in. Oh, you can't do this, you can't show that. A lot of these things, which are, I guess, not as acceptable today, is a part of Sanji's character, and I'm glad they kept a lot of that. Chef Zeph is another character you get introduced into, and he's like Gordon Ramsay. I mean, you're waiting for him to blow his top. Like every 2 seconds, you're waiting for him to just lose his shit. But it's entertaining. Like, you're watching it, it's entertaining, especially with his dynamic with Sanji. The fact that he plays like a father figure to Sanji. It's not your classic father figure. It's different. And it's nice that One Piece tends to cover that not all father-son relationships are the same. The love is the same. The love for each other is there. You can tell it's there. At the same time, it's a rocky relationship, but that love is deep. So it's good that they show that there is different kinds of love, and especially in the world we live in, again, everything is so two-dimensional, where this is how this looks, this is how that looks. It's nice to see a different dynamic. Mihawk, probably another character that I've always been intrigued by. So seeing him come in, and yes, he comes in a little different in the live action than he does in the source, but they find a way to make it work. They adjust some things and modify some things. It works, so I'm not too fussed by it. They keep the character of Mihawk for the most part, with the exception of his accent, which kind of makes sense considering the way he looks. It does knock you back a little because it's a little different, but again, it works. This episode takes off where the last one finished. Garp's still chasing Luffy, he's still going, and it's interesting to see that dynamic between the two. Vincent Regan just nails it. Anger while impressed at the same time, he portrays that really well. Then you get to the Baratie, and wow, it looks like the Baratie. Anyone that's been following it has seen like pictures and set photos and stuff like that, but it blows your mind when you see it live action. You're like, wow, they made this, like they created this, and you're like, it was pulled straight out of the source material. It looks amazing. They obviously want to eat at the Baratie, how that happens, and all the things that come out of the fact that they want to eat at the Baratie. It's great. They found a way to connect it all, and some of it's a little different, some of it's the same. In the end, it finds its own identity as a show, and this is where the show really starts to pick up. You start seeing all the different aspects, the angles of the crew's dynamic, but at the same time, how they interact with the rest of the world. And now they're starting to become a thing in the world. They're starting to make a name, starting to slowly have a presence. And it's insane because you look at it here and you're thinking, wow, we must be like getting to that point where the crew are going to become like something. The crew are going to become a force to be reckoned with. But anyone who follows the source knows that there's so much beyond this. So much. I mean, you're talking on the manga we're at right now 1091, I think, and in the anime we're at 1074. So yeah, that gives you an idea of how much more content and how much more deeper this gets. But that doesn't take away from how relevant all of this is, because you'll be that far down and referencing what's happening in these episodes. This is one of the beautiful things about One Piece. You could be anywhere in the show and be referencing something somewhere completely in the opposite direction. You could be referencing something completely in the past, or something that hasn't even happened yet, and then you connect it back later. So this is one of the beauties of the show, and you can see all these pieces being placed everywhere. Zoro's resolve, it's so epic. It just fits his character so well. Each of them start to show their role in the crew and what their purpose in the crew is. And each one has a different dynamic. Each one has a different dynamic with Luffy. Each one has a different purpose they fill in the crew. And it's interesting to see that everything is starting to take form. You're starting to see the Straw Hats being built. And it's, especially for someone who's watched this so long ago, it's different, but it's like you're watching it the first time again. And that takes a lot from a show to execute. You're watching the show and you don't feel like you know it all. Even though a lot of it's similar, enough is different that you're, even for long-time viewers, you're like, you know what? I actually like that. It was different, but I like that. And I have to give it to Netflix for one thing. They got in touch with the creator Oda and got his blessings. And yeah, this is like an alternate reality where a lot of things happen the same way, but even the things that don't happen the same way, you're like, it works. This is where the show starts to pick up, and from here it doesn't slow down. Keep tuned and keep watching, and you're gonna start to see the weird and wonderful world of One Piece. And for those who are already here, it's something fresh and new. But for those who are joining the world, you have no idea how much is in front of you. I don't want to spoil anything, but you're talking levels of abilities, you're talking foes, you're talking relationships, you're talking every single one of the characters you meet has so much more depth to them. Every single one you've met already has so much depth to them. A lot more crew members to add, so you can imagine how many more stories and arcs there are to tell. Stay tuned, you're gonna love it.